Right, okay, fan reaction time then. West Bromwich Albion 0, Burnley 0. Bit of a change of scenery from me today. Obviously, when I do the fan reactions, I'm normally in the kitchen just to give like a different vibe, holding my phone up, but I've got a bit of a bad back at the minute, so I don't think I'll be able to hold the phone up for as long as I need to for these. But anyway, enough of that. Let's get into the match. It's just the same issues are there. Obviously, the same issues are there. We're just not clinical enough in the final third. But at least today, against West Brom, we were creating chances. It was better today, and I've seen people complaining and stuff because obviously they see the nil and they just think, oh, it's not enough. And over the course of the game, did we create enough? Probably not. But this is West Brom. Like, we're playing a decent side. It's not like we're playing QPR at home, like where we have been awful before and created absolutely nothing. And Plymouth at home, and Preston at home, and Blackburn at home. But there's a theme there. But this was West Brom away, and we created, obviously, the Fleming chance. That's a good chance that from us, and Fleming has to do better. He should score it in my opinion. Fleming should do better with that. I think he just takes his eye off the ball. That was a decent chance. Obviously, the Anthony chance that was ruled out for no reason whatsoever. Obviously, the referees deem that there's a push because his hand touches his back. I mean, it's a contact sport. I know I've already whinged about it in the 60-second review, but I just can't get my head around about how bad that decision is from the referee. Essentially, we were robbed because that is a perfectly good goal. But I'm not going to go too much down that avenue because I just don't want to go over the top on that sort of thing. But it was the wrong decision, and we did score a perfectly good goal, and therefore we should have won that match, but the referee robbed us. Yeah, so there was them two chances. Perez hit the post. Okay, it's probably not deemed as quite a good chance, that one, to be fair, but he's done well to get his shot away at a decent quality and hit the post. And obviously there's the Sarmiento chance as well. Now, obviously some people will point to the fact that it came from an unenforced error by the defender, but still, it's a chance. But Fleming should do better from the chance that we created there. Anthony's done well to score a perfectly good goal, which the referee chalked off. And again, Sarmiento should have done better. It's all ifs, buts and maybes. I know it is, but all I'm addressing is the fact that I'm seeing some people saying it's still the same, it's still not creating enough. I haven't seen the XG. I remember checking it after around 30 minutes. And I know some of you don't like it and whinge about it when I mention XG. But I know for a fact that it will be better than recent games. Okay, it's not difficult to be better against Millwall because we were awful against Millwall. But there was signs of improvement there tonight. We looked better. Parker changed it up a little bit. Obviously, he moved Fleming back into the 9, which did annoy me if I was being honest. Fleming didn't play that well, actually, to be fair. So I stand by that. I think Fleming needs to be now played in the 10. I understand why he's playing in the 9 due to the injuries to our main striker in Lyle Foster. I get that. But I think it's now time to see Fleming in the 10 a bit more and try an actual striker in the striker position, please. Even if it's Gio Hortondre, we just need to do that for a little bit, in my opinion. But Sarmiento playing behind him in that 10 role gave us a little bit more. He was getting on the ball, he was trying to create stuff. Should have done better with that chance, as I've already mentioned. But I did like that. It was good to see Luca back on the left instead of being forced out to the right to make way for Anthony, who hasn't been playing great, admittedly, recently. But I thought Luca was poor again tonight, if I'm being honest with you. I don't think he was great. So many times he just chooses the wrong pass or tries to cut inside. Or somebody said on Twitter, and I love this analogy that they said, that he could run into a dead end on a motorway, and that's brilliant. He absolutely could. That's what he does all the time. He just picks the wrong option, or if he stops and tries to pass, he's just too heavy or too light, and there's not enough on it. And I love Luca. I've said several times, I think, on the channel that he's probably my favourite player. But I think I'm basing that off, last season when he was in the team before he got his injury, and obviously the goal at Leeds, which was a big goal. And I always say with Luke, I respect the fact that he's still trying to get on the ball, he's still trying to make things happen, even though he ultimately chooses the wrong thing. He doesn't just sulk, he doesn't just shy away from possession, and it's good to see. I think ultimately when he gets better, I've said this a million times, but some people, if I don't say it, they give me shit. But ultimately when he gets better and he gets older, should I say, and more experienced, he's going to get better and he's going to make the better decisions in the final third. Whether we see him do that in a Burnley shirt or is long gone by then, who knows. But yeah, I'm frustrated with Luca at the minute. I just always seems to choose the wrong thing, and people are now calling him things like headless chicken and terrible and overrated and stuff. I don't buy that at all. I think he's got a big future in front of him. He's just having a poor run at the minute. And if we had the players to bring in for him, it probably would be time to drop him for a little bit. But I'm not sure we have anyone that we could really be playing there. Unless, like I said, at the weekend, we maybe try Hontondre or Jay in the 9, Fleming in the 10, and then we can have Sarmiento on the left or the right, and Anthony, whichever way Scott wants to do it. And then maybe bring Luca on against tired defenders with his raw pace later in the game. And then maybe he'd make better decisions because he'd be in behind and have more space and be under less pressure. I don't know. But yeah, I do think it was better from Burnley today. I don't think it's as bad as some people are making out. To be fair, I think most people do agree the performance was better. It's just the same issues are there. Even with that better performance and the creating more chances, it's still a 0. And all right, the referee is a huge part of that, but still, it's a 0. And that's the problem. We're just not scoring enough goals. And I think this is going to be a problem. I mean, it's obvious it's going to be a problem, but this is going to be a problem throughout the season because obviously I've mentioned it before on a few shows and stuff, but when you look at Scott Parker's Fulham side, they had Mitrovic, and when you have Scott Parker's that Bournemouth side, both in the Championship obviously and got promoted out of the Championship, they had Solanke. So they had that out-and-out striker there that you could hang your hat on who scored quite a lot of goals in these tight spaces under low XG chances and stuff, and we just don't have that at the minute. I do think, I know a lot of you seem to don't like Lyle, and I completely agree, but he was poor this season. But I do think when Lyle comes in and we have Fleming in the 10, I genuinely believe that can work. Maybe it's just a final last hope from me, I'm not sure, but I do think I called him the missing piece of the puzzle tonight on a text message to somebody. I think that's probably a little bit dramatic because he's shown nothing yet to show that he will be the missing piece of the puzzle. But I think when we have a striker in there in front of a 10 who's shown that he can play a 10 when he was at Millwall and do well in that 10 in Fleming obviously, then I think this system could work a little bit better because we just need to be more clinical. Like, we do need to create more chances. Yes, we created more tonight, but it's still probably not enough. But let's see how we get on against Swansea, because if we play like we did against tonight against, with all due respect to Swansea, a team who I see as probably a lesser opponent, but to be fair, they've done quite well recently of Swansea. So it's going to be interesting, but I think they play a similar style as well. They're going to want to get on the ball and stuff, so it's going to be interesting to see. Some positives that nobody can literally argue with me, I'm sure somebody will. CJ Gunraley, fantastic again, and I keep tooting this horn at the minute of CJ's, but I was a little bit sceptical of him earlier in the season. I thought he didn't look great defensively, but was good on the ball. But now he's looking good defensively and he's good on the ball. He's come on leaps and bounds, in my opinion. He's been absolutely fantastic. Man of the match from me tonight. Obviously, there's no full-time show, so I'll just put it out there. My man of the match, CJ Egan-Riley, I thought it was fantastic. But yeah, disappointed obviously with the draw. Even though you draw your own games, you win draw your away games, win your own games, and the chances are you're going up. But obviously we're not winning the home games at the minute. But big game on Sunday now. I think we need to start winning some games because Sheffield United seem to have turned a corner. Leeds are still stuttering, but they're unbeaten since we beat them. So they're stuttering, but still getting points on the board. And Sunderland draw against Preston recently, but they don't seem to be fading as quickly as I thought they would. So I don't want us to get out of touch, obviously. So I think it's a big game on Sunday that we need to win. But yeah, thought CJ Egan-Riley was fantastic. I thought we've ultimately just been robbed by the referee. Yeah. Positive signs. It was better than Millwall. Okay, that's not difficult, but it was also better than QPR, Preston, Blackburn, Plymouth, Portsmouth. It was better than all of them in terms of going forward with intent and looking like they want to attack rather than just not bothering at all. One criticism I will say of Scott, I thought his subs were far too safe. I've seen somebody criticising the subs at all, saying, they're all ridiculous and stuff. Based on tonight's game, I thought he played it too safe with his subs. There's not much attacking talent on the bench, to caveat that point, to be fair to Scott, so maybe that's why he was a little bit safe with his subs, but I just felt like we'd been on top in certain areas of the match, and I just felt like at the last 10-15 minutes, right, get some players on that might be able to stretch the game a little bit more in our favour and hopefully get the points, but he decided to bring on some safe substitutions, which I found a little bit frustrating. But yeah, positive signs in my opinion. Better than Millwall, not difficult admittedly, but positive signs. We're getting slowly better.